So you want that flagship Montblanc pen, the famous black pen with the little white star, the one that says you've made it. But you're staring at the price tag, $1,270, and something in your gut is telling you that can't possibly be what the pen is worth. Your gut is right. What if I told you there are 7 fountain pens that give you the same buttery gold nib, the same flawless build, the same quiet prestige among the people who actually know pens, for a fraction of the price, some for half, one for barely a fifth. These pens have nib craftsmanship Montblanc can't beat, in-house manufacturing Montblanc can't claim to do better, and a writing experience that, in a blind test, would leave a lot of Montblanc owners genuinely unsure which pen was in their hand. And to be clear, this isn't me trashing the Montblanc. They really do make good pens. They just don't cost what they're worth. And by the end of this, you'll see exactly why. Let's count down the 7 pens that absolutely destroy Montblanc. Number 7. The Aurora 88. We'll start in Italy with a brand people like to call the most German of the Italian pen makers. And they mean it as a compliment because these pens are built really, really well. Here's the thing about Aurora. They've been at it in Turin since 1919, and they make almost everything themselves, including their own gold nibs. And that matters more than you'd guess, because most pen companies, even pricey ones, don't make their own nibs. They buy them from one of 2 big German suppliers, Jovo or Bach. Aurora cuts and tunes theirs in-house, same as Montblanc, and that's a big piece of what you're actually paying for, a nib with its own personality instead of the same one everybody else is using. The 88 is their flagship. It was actually designed back in 1947 to go head-to-head with the Parker 51, which was the most famous pen in the world at the time, and it's been an icon ever since. Depending on the version, it runs somewhere between $450 and $700. What people love is the way that nib writes. Aurora nibs have a little bit of feedback, a slight grip on the paper, and they tend to write on the finer side. It's what fans call controlled smoothness. The pen feels like it's actually connecting with the page instead of skating across it. And once you get used to it, a totally slick nib starts to feel kind of lifeless by comparison. It's a proper luxury pen, made in the same Turin factory it always has been, from a family company with just as much history as Montblanc, usually for hundreds less. Number 6. The Leonardo Momento Zero. One more from Italy, because honestly, the Italians are quietly cleaning up in this price range. Leonardo looks like a young company, but the people behind it have been making pens for over 40 years. The Momento Zero is their signature pen, and since it came out, it's quickly become one of the most loved pens in the whole hobby. The steel nib version is around $170, or you can step up to a 14-karat gold nib for a bit more. And here's what gets people: the material. Montblanc gives you black. Classy, sure, but black. Leonardo hand turns each of these from a solid bar of resin in colors that are just gorgeous. Deep swirling blues and greens and ambers. You catch yourself tilting back and forth under the light. Here's the part that surprised me though. On a pen this pretty, you'd expect the writing to be an afterthought, but the nibs show up tuned and smooth right out of the box. People constantly say they can write with it the same day it arrives. No fiddling. The section's shaped so your grip naturally lands at a comfortable writing angle too. It's a genuinely handmade Italian pen with real personality for the price of a nice dinner for 2. If shelling out $1,200 for a plain black pen never sat right with you, this is the one that fixes that. Number 5. The Platinum 3776 Century. Now, over to Japan, and this is where the value gets kind of ridiculous. The Platinum 3776 Century costs around $200, and for that you get a 14-karat gold nib from one of Japan's big 3 pen houses, a company that's been doing this since 1919. The name, by the way, comes from the height of Mount Fuji in meters, 3,776, which tells you how seriously the Japanese take this pen. But here's the feature that really gets me, and it's something even the $1,200 Montblanc doesn't do. Platinum built in a special cap seal, they call it slip and seal, that keeps the ink from drying out for up to 24 months. You know that thing where you pick up a fountain pen after a couple weeks and it won't start? This pen just doesn't do that. Leave it in a drawer for a year, come back, and it writes on the first stroke. Now, about that nib, because it's got real character. Platinum nibs are a little toothy. They've got this fine, crisp feedback that some people describe as a slight scritch, like a pencil on nice paper, and they write noticeably finer than European nibs of the same label, so a Japanese medium writes more like a European fine. That makes it a dream if you write small, take a lot of notes, or like a clean, precise line, though if you want big and buttery, this isn't that pen, and that's worth knowing before you buy. Here's the value part. You could buy 6 of these for what one Montblanc 149 costs. 6 full gold nib pens. This is usually the pen that first makes people stop and go, wait, what am I actually paying for up there? Number 4, the Sailor 1911 Large. One's almost unfair because it comes at Montblanc 2 ways at once, on looks and on writing. The Sailor 1911 Large has that same cigar shape as the 149, that same formal black and gold dress pen look, and it's around $250 to $300 for the gold nib. But the real reason to get one is the nib, because a lot of serious writers think Sailor makes the best nibs on the planet. Full stop. The 1911 Large has a 21-karat gold nib, and here's a detail worth knowing since it trips people up. That 21-karat nib is only on the full-size pens like this one. The smaller slim models use a 14-karat nib, so if you specifically want that gold content, size matters. What makes a Sailor is the feedback. It's got that signature, fine, almost pencil-on-paper feel, a little bit of feedback that gives you a real sense of control, and honestly, a lot of people find it actually improves their handwriting because of that control. Here's the honest comparison with the Montblanc. The 149 writes broad and smooth and buttery. It kinda glides. The Sailor writes with more precision and more character, and it goes finer than just about any European pen out there. Which one you like better really just comes down to taste. And that's the whole point. This isn't a step down, it's a different, and a lot of people would say more refined, experience for a third of the money. Oh, and Sailor just put out a steel nib version of this same pen in 2026, the 1911 Casual, for around $175 if you want that look and feel for even less. Real quick, if you're getting something out of this, do me a favor and hit subscribe. This is what I do here. Honest breakdowns of what's actually worth your money. No sponsors, no brand deals, nobody mailing me a pen to soften what I say about it. Okay, the top 3, this is where it gets good. Number 3, the Pilot Custom 823. If you just want a pen that flat out performs, this is one of the greats, and almost nobody outside the hobby has heard of it. The Pilot Custom 823 is around $400, and it does something clever with how it holds ink. Instead of a normal cartridge or piston, it uses a vacuum filler. You pull up a plunger and it sucks in a big gulp of ink in one go, over 2.5 milliliters, which is a huge amount. If you actually write a lot, you're going weeks between refills. And there's a genuinely neat trick to it. There's a valve you can close at the back, and with it shut, the pen won't burp or leak even on an airplane when the cabin pressure changes, which makes it one of the few pens people actually trust to fly with. The body's a see-through smoky brown or amber, so you can watch your ink level in there, which is genuinely useful, and I'll admit, kind of mesmerizing. The one catch, being a vacuum filler, it's a little more work to clean than a normal pen, so most people just pick an ink they love and stick with it. But the reason this pen has such a following is the nib. Pilot's 14-karat gold nibs are famous, probably the most famous in the hobby, for writing glassy smooth with a little bit of bounce right out of the box. No tuning, no breaking in. You just ink it and go. That's the opposite of the crisp, feedbacky Sailor and Platinum nibs. This one's soft and muffled and wet. So between the 3 Japanese pens on this list, you can basically pick your favorite feel. I've heard so many people who own both the 823 and a Montblanc quietly admit the Pilot writes as well or better for about a third of the price. The Montblanc's a pen you show people. The 823's a pen you sit down and actually use. Number 2, the Pelikan M800. This is the one that goes right at Montblanc, head on, because it's playing the exact same game, full luxury flagship, and it wins on value every single time. The Pelikan M800 is the real deal, no compromises, from a German company with nearly 200 years behind it. 18-karat gold nib made entirely in-house, and here's the thing that gives it that unmistakable feel. A solid brass piston mechanism inside. That brass gives the pen a real, substantial weight in the hand that lighter pens just can't fake, and the piston draws up a big reservoir of ink straight from the bottle. No cartridges. Then there's that green striped barrel, made from cellulose acetate that pen people can spot from across a room. It's around $500 to $560, which is real money, right up until you remember the pen it's going against costs well over twice that. And here's the line you'll hear over and over from people who really know pens. When it comes to the actual writing, Pelikan is right there with Montblanc, not a notch below, right there. Same level of craftsmanship, that same soft, wet, slightly springy gold nib, same kind of pen that gets passed down, sent in for a simple service, and is still writing perfectly 50 years later. The Zuview Ran line even comes in a range of sizes, from the smaller M400 up to the big M1000, so you can match it to your hand instead of forcing your hand to match the pen. Same league, from a house every bit as legendary, and you pocket $600 or $700. When people say the Montblanc Premium is mostly just the logo, the M800 is the pen they point to. Number 1. The Lamy 2000. And here it is, the pen that pretty much ends the argument. This is the comparison the whole hobby keeps coming back to, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. The Lamy 2000 is around $223. The Montblanc 149 is $1,270. That's over 5 times the price, and yet both are flagship pens. Both have 14-karat gold nibs, both have built-in piston fillers. Same kind of pen, same core spec. One costs barely a fifth of the other. But here's what makes it brutal. The Lamy 2000 isn't just the cheap option, it's a genuine design classic in its own right. It came out in 1966, designed by Gerd Mueller in the strict Bauhaus tradition. That idea that nothing should be on the pen that doesn't need to be there. And they haven't changed it since, not out of laziness, but because they nailed it the first time. The body's a seamless brushed mix of Macrolon, which is a tough fiberglass reinforced polycarbonate, and stainless steel, with no visible seams, and no big logo, just one clean shape that's aged better than almost any pen ever made. That Macrolon shrugs off drops and decades of pocket carry without cracking, and the brushed finish actually hides the little scratches of daily life instead of showing them off. The nib's smooth with a little spring. It's a true, everyday workhorse, and it'll outlive you, so line them up. One leans on a $1,200 price and a famous logo. The other's a fifth of the cost, a piece of design history, and it writes every bit as well. If you ever wanted one pen to prove you're mostly paying Montblanc for the name and not the writing, this is it. That's why it's number 1. So there's your 7. And look, if you love the 149, if you've always wanted that white star and it genuinely make you happy, buy it and enjoy it. No judgment. It's a good pen. Just know exactly what your money's buying, and know there's a whole world of pens out there that'll match it or beat it for way less. Tell me in the comments which one you'd actually reach for, and if you own a Montblanc, go on, defend it. I want to hear it.